So if you want to see how I made Radha and Prabha's chicken biryani dish that made them win at MKR, keep on watching. Okay, start this off. Need to marinate the chicken. So I've already got some plain yogurt into the bowl, and now to that we're going to add 4 tablespoons of tomato sauce, or everywhere else in the world it's called ketchup. As always, correct amounts and ingredients going to be on the website traditionalbutnot.com. We're also going to add 4 cloves of crushed garlic. It also says to add a tablespoon of ginger paste. I didn't have any ginger paste, so I just got some fresh ginger and I grated that out on my microplane. So we're going to add that in too. Going to add some garam masala. We also got some Kashmiri chili powder. So instead of using the black mustard seeds, I'm going to use these yellow or white mustard seeds. I'm not sure which one. Anyway, I'm going to add double the amount because the black ones are more strong. So I also toasted them off. Also going to add some turmeric, some coarsely ground black pepper, some cinnamon. Next we got some cardamom. Then we got some clove. And last but not least, the king of all seasonings, salt. Okay, once you got all those spices in, we're just going to give it a quick mix before we get the chicken in there. So next I got my bone-in skin-on chicken thighs. I'm just going to place some cuts in the chicken, and this is just going to allow the marinade to penetrate into the meat. So I'm finding something a little strange with the recipe. They leave the skin on. Now usually when you make something such as this, you would take the skin off because it could get rubbery and all that. But the recipe specifically says bone-in skin-on chicken thighs, so we'll see what happens. Okay, once you scored all the chicken, I'm going to plop it in our marinade. And the recipe also states, which I'm a big advocate of, to get in there and mix all this up with your hands. So we'll get all this and make sure the chicken is completely covered with the yogurt. Now we're just going to cover this with some cling film, stick it in the fridge for anywhere from 3 hours up to overnight. So after all that, I forgot to add the cumin, which I don't have any cumin seeds, so I'll go on in with a teaspoon of ground cumin. So I'll bung that in, give it a mix, and pop it back in the fridge. Okay, so to pickle the onion, I've got this jar here that I'm going to repurpose as my little vessel here. So I already went ahead and sliced up the brown onion, and now I'm just breaking it apart a little bit as I stuff it into the jar. And now I've got my chili here, I've just cut in half. I'm going to shove that in there as well. Now I've got some freshly squeezed lemon juice. In that goes, and last but not least, some salt. So, I'm going to bang on the lid, give it a little shake, get everything nice and mixed up. Now that's going to go into the fridge until we're ready to use it. Okay, so I said to use a Lebanese cucumber, seeded. I couldn't find one of those, so I use this regular English, I think they call it an English cucumber. I took the seeds out, and I'm going to grate that in. It should work out just alright. As you can see, I've got my cucumber all coarsely grated up. Now I'm going to put it into some paper towel, and we're going to squeeze as much of the excess water out as we can. So I got as much of the water out as I can. Now I'm going to put the rest of it into the bowl. Paper towel probably wasn't the best thing to use, but we'll try not to get any in there with the cucumber. Okay, to the cucumber, we're going to add some sour cream and yogurt. We're also going to add some finely chopped coriander. We're also going to add some cumin. It also says to add some grated jaggery or caster sugar, but I'm going to add this coconut sugar instead. Okay, once you get it all in the bowl, you're going to mix it all together, and then we're going to set it aside till we're ready to use it. Okay, it doesn't actually say in the recipe, but I gave it a taste, and it needs some salt. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt, then we'll mix that in, and then we'll set it aside till we're ready to use it. Okay, I got a couple of tablespoons of oil heating up in a pan here, and to that, I'm going to add some onion. So the recipe called for 2 tomatoes, vine ripened, except I didn't have any of those, but I had some cherry tomatoes vine ripened, so I'm adding those. Also, we got some garlic cloves that are being crushed. Couldn't find any fresh curry leaf, so I'm going to be adding dried. And also I didn't get any ginger paste, so I microplaned down some fresh stuff. Okay, we're going to get that in the pot. I'm going to give it a good stir. I'm going to keep it over a medium heat till the onions are soft. I've got some washed basmati rice in the pot here, and I've just covered it by some cold water that's 2 centimeters above the rice. Now I'm just going to add some salt and give that a quick stir. And then I'm going to turn the stovetop on. I'm going to put a lid on it, and as soon as it comes to a boil, we're going to drain it. My onions are nice and soft, so now I'm going to add the chicken and the marinade straight to the pot. Okay, we're going to keep it on this medium heat, and we're going to cook it for around 10 minutes. The chicken's about half cooked, and in the meantime, we'll continue on with the rice. My rice is just starting to boil, so we're going to remove this from the heat, drain it, and then we'll set it aside. I've got a little saucepan here, and then we're going to add some oil to it, a couple of tablespoons, and then we're going to get our ghee in there, and we're just going to heat this up for a minute, and then we'll get the other spices in. I've got my ghee and oil heated up. Into that, we're going to add some mustard seeds. We're going to add cinnamon stick, some cardamom pods, and some curry leaves. Obviously dried because, well, I can't get my hands on any fresh. Also at this stage, we should be adding some cumin seeds, but because I don't have any, add in some powder there. So, in they go. I'm just going to let that toast off for about a minute or so. These have been cooking away for about a minute. They've had their little splutter, and now I'm going to add the onion. And we're just going to add this and we're just going to cook this until soft. My onion's nice and soft and starting to get a little bit of colour on it. Now we're going to add in the rice. Okay, so we're going to get this all stirred in, get the rice all covered in the ghee and all the spices and the onion. Probably should have used a bigger pan or something to do this, but you know me, I like the struggle. That's pretty much as good as I'm going to get it mixed in this small pot. So now we're going to transfer this into the chicken. My chicken's been boobling away and I've been keeping an eye on it, making sure nothing's sticking. I'm just going to dump all the rice mixture in. Don't be like me, use a bigger pot to stir in the rice. Alright, now we're going to mix all this in. I'm going to adjust my temperature a little bit to a medium heat. Well, medium-low heat I should say. Alright, once it's all mixed in, I'm going to make sure all that chicken's nicely submerged under the mixture. And we're going to get a lid. I'm going to stick it on wherever my lid is. I'm going to let this sit there covered and let it cook for about another 10 minutes and then we'll start checking. I've had it on for about 15 minutes total now and it's just starting to stick to the bottom, but the rice still needs a little bit more to cook. So I'm going to leave it covered. I'm just going to remove it from the heat and let it sit, and hopefully the residual heat in the pot will finish off cooking without anything burning to the bottom. So I had some nigella seeds kicking around in the cupboard. I thought I'd sprinkle them over the raita, you know, just to get a bit more nigella in the dish. Now I finally got a bit of everything on the fork here. Well, spoon, but yeah. It's after tasting every component. My Kashmiri chili powder mustn't be very hot because I'm not getting much heat here, but I'm getting a little bit of heat from the onion here. But in saying that, this dish is still full of flavour. I mean, I haven't had much chicken biryani in my time, but this is going to make me start eating more.